capacity building exercises. Now, I'm getting close. I'm getting close to 2:30? 2:30. So if you have any questions, you ask now. But I'd like very quickly lang case of what we consider integrated. And maybe not everybody may agree, but Manila Water is one of the first companies that submitted a sustainability report to the Global Reporting Initiative. The Global Reporting Initiative, or GRI, it's like a global organization that monitors CSR compliance. And almost, if you want to get a parang a stamp of approval from banks or you want to partner with global corporations, you must comply with or at least have a GRI reporting. And I think Manila Water was among the first. We also launched the MAP CSR Leadership Challenge. And Manila Water won because we felt and validated that it is the most integrated, in the sense that they targeted their communities not simply for connection, but to give them, they have connected or supplied more than 1.5 million poor people, and they now enjoy a 24-hour water supply from their taps. Aside from that, they also provided them with livelihood opportunities. They could have focused on the higher income level. However, as part of their CSR, they decided that water, which is, I mentioned to you how critical the supply of clean water was, they decided that they want to work with the poor communities so that they can supply them with clean water. That is part of their CSR. But they did not do something that they did not understand. They did something which they understood clearly, which was integrated into their own business, so that maybe it does contribute to the bottom line. Maybe it does. But it answers a social need, which is the need for clean water. And I suppose that's what we mean when we say, look for the intersection where your needs as a business and that of society intersects. I was asked to mention, there are just a few more slides, and this is more for information. I was asked to mention or to talk about the private sector effort in poverty alleviation. I just want to mention to you, sige, some quick slides. I just want to mention yung PDRF. Right after Ondoy, our president very quickly created a disaster response reconstruction group, but to be headed by the private sector. So in a sense, sabi ko, yun yung diminished capacity of government to address our social needs. Well, because it is election year, it's very understandable that none of these people will be, I mean, not the same people, I hope, will be there after election. But they very quickly pushed the challenge of rehabilitation and reconstruction to the private sector. Fortunately, they knew better, and so they created the Philippine Disaster Recovery Foundation under Manny Pangilinan. And together, they're bringing together civil society, other organizations, and they will address some of these issues immediately. But we realize that we cannot address these issues without government intervention, particularly infrastructure, or following the zoning, 1977 zoning guidelines, which said you should not build in Provident, or there should be no homes in Provident Village. In spite that, we built huge mansions in Provident Village. But there is definitely, we have the corporate network for disaster response, and each company, and I want to mention prominently Jollibee, because I know them, I know the executive director. They poured in millions immediately to assist their employees who were affected. But I'd like to mention that our challenge is not disaster response, but adaptation. No, how do we relocate the employees who are relocated located in flood, prone areas, how do we relocate our factories? So, hindi lang siya disaster response, kung hindi adaptation. But that's a major challenge that each company must address. And I just want to point out, kasi they wanted me to focus on mobilizing communities. I just want to let you know that these are the communities where the League of Corporate Foundation is located and private sector investment. Every year, we conduct what we call the CSR conference, and we are responsible for consolidating what is the private sector contribution to poverty alleviation. We're not able to get all of the data, but every year, ito more or less about 3.4 billion in private sector. Of course, if you look at it from the point of view of how much money they're making, maybe you will say it is insignificant. But at least we are able to show where the private sector contribution to poverty alleviation. And this is the distribution of where our contribution goes to: all capacity building, livelihood, microfinance, and skills. And then I'd like to point out, is that education or environment? There was 90% of our members are into education. However, very recently, these figures have changed significantly so that more people are putting money into environmental projects. Okay? And then just to show, well, just to let you know what our vision is, and it's very consistent when we founded it 15 years ago. Can I go back to the vision? Yeah. I like the vision to be the driving force in the formation of a highly committed business sector working effectively with communities and partner organizations towards the attainment of equitable and sustainable development. And I like to think that by addressing groups like this, that we are doing our share. And ito yung aming CSR environmental roadmap. This is to show where we are and what we're doing as far as environment is concerned, and there are opportunities for partnership. And then we have, impossible to read, but we plotted what all of our members are doing in local government, teacher training, support of daycare centers. So we plotted everything that we're doing, and that is how we arrived at what we call a systemic intervention. Kasi we were all over the place, but we could not see the results of our efforts. And that's the reason why we brought about or studied an intervention that is systemic to address a social issue such as education, and came up with 5775. Okay? And then I would like to close. Recently, 2 days ago, we were inducted as governors of the Management Association of the Philippines. And our speaker was a very interesting man, former Chief Justice Artemio Panganiban. Our theme for this year is principled leadership during challenging times. And he gave us a tip. And the tip is for us to operate